Every sun of every universe eventually dies out, but ours is dying out way before its time.
We're in a time now where we're moving from the fourth cycle, according to the Hopi prophecy, into the fifth cycle. We say from the third dimension into the fourth and above dimensions. There's a shift, a transition.
And therefore, the reason we do the purification prayer or the 11:11 prayer is that only those who are becoming pure, absolutely pure in God, can safely handle this new pouring out of energies that are coming in and all around us. And it all seems to be coming our way.
Because once you lose faith in God, once you lose faith in Jesus, you have no hope. Mm-hmm. And you're open to wrong decisions. You're open to make a lot of mistakes. Because if you don't ask God what the answer is and what the decision is for you, you're pretty much going to make a mistake in your life. Mm-hmm. If God is not directing your life, then the other guy is. I can't see you, but I know you in light. I can't touch you, but I feel you in light.
So helium is the second element in the periodic table after hydrogen. And with CFER, we learn about different reflectivities, but would that mean that it's somewhat more reflective of the eternal sun? I mean, if you're going to say, hydrogen is more reflective of the Father, Son, would helium be more reflective of the eternal sun, creator sun, and that the energies of helium are more sun, of the creator in this sense? Would that... I mean, I know it's quite a gap between the physical and the spiritual, of course, but there is some reflectivity there.
I think this, that our natural sun is being destroyed by the dial of the collective consciousness on this planet. That's why the coronial holes in the sun. And so the creator sun is taking over. As we know, every sun of every universe eventually dies out. But ours is dying out way before its time. But it doesn't matter. Don't be fair. No, nothing to fear. Because Jesus Christ, Michael, the Creator Son, is in control. And so, yes, I think that it does represent the Creator Son and the second person of the Trinity, the Eternal Son.
Helium actually is the stabilizing point between hydrogen and oxygen that we know of as creating water. And that is why it's causing so much confusion out there, because no one believes in the Creator. They don't believe in the Creator Son. They don't believe that these elements in the cosmos are changing due to the changing consciousness and those things coming that haven't been out there before. This is the acceleration of the adjudication. So everything which we thought we knew about helium is useless, except when we look at it on the far side of the Mendeleev table and see that it is literally the stabilizing particle for each one of these elemental rows in the chart. So basically the bottom line is, if you understood that there are two hydrogens and an oxygen that makes up water, then the hydrogen in two different phases of its nuclear makeup is the equivalent of one helium. And then the oxygen its mate reassociates as neon, the stabilizer of the next row. So you can almost see the 3 in 1. And in a dual universe such as ours, you begin to see how there are two of them manifest. The hydrogen and hydrogen prime acting as the father-son unit, and the oxygen acting as the mother unit. If we were able to use continuing fifth epical revelation in more appropriate ways, we could totally rewrite the education about the elements and how much it is being distorted. And all the things they think they are seeing out there of helium is not really what they're seeing. They are seeing the upstepping of creation and the activities of God. And one thing we all have to remember here is that the circuits are all being opened back up. And therefore, the reason why the purification prayer, or 1111 prayer, is that only those who are becoming pure, absolutely pure in God, can safely handle this new outpouring of energies that are coming in all around us. And it is all seeming to be coming our way. The big question is there anybody on earth that is pure enough, gentle enough, kind enough to direct these energies to the rest of the world, back out to space where they belong? Yes. Some are right here at the first planetary sacred home, the living answers to the rearranging and restructuring of elements. But everything which the unspiritized scientists have been putting out there about helium fields and the shock wave in front of the solar system, and that we're moving into new parts of the galaxy, is utter nonsense, absolute untruth. It is a distractor from reality.
Right. So, okay, so let's stop for just a second. Why is this important? So we know our solar system has this huge Oort cloud around it. Another star, like a brown dwarf, would also have an Oort cloud around it. If there is a brown dwarf in our vicinity, like we think it is, it's bringing in its own Oort cloud. And so what would be the composition of that Oort cloud? Well, what we think would be the composition and what is the signature of a brown dwarf is helium. And that's why we think that we have this colliding solar system, Oort cloud, if you will, for lack of a better word, because I don't know what you call the cloud around the brown dwarf. We call ours the Oort cloud. But those two clouds coming together, and we're going to see planets from their outer core, outer cloud. We would see debris, and we would see helium. We'd see a change in the composition around our star. What does this all mean, right? What it means, quite honestly, everybody, is that we're entering a time of change in our solar system.
You had sent an email about the helium video to me. Is it okay if I read it?
Yeah.
After listening to this, we need to interpret it according to the Urantia. This is from Talyasvin. According to the Urantia book and CFER. My feelings are it's a Trinity projection probe, CFER, into our solar system and close to Earth, sent by Michael to test the moral thoughts on the Earth and the erosion of Deo force. Therefore, it is also a kind of weapon that reads planetary consciousness of the whole planetary mind and puts out energies that can be a positive or negative influence to a planet. Since Urantia is mostly Dio, we are in a world of trouble.
But there is another thought, all kind of thoughts, good ones. The outer energy that we will put off as we come into the first stage of light and life. Right now, we're told that our light together right here or destiny reservist is seen hundreds of thousands of light years away.
So it's like a little
You know,
sun.
is noticed. And that when a natural sun dies out, it's the outer energy of the people on the planet that brings light to the world. So the artificial sun is not needed anymore. That's what's going to happen here, way before its time, because Urantia is an experimental world, and it's happening. So our light may be enough right here to take the place, and those that come to join, those 144,000 who are already all over the world coming into higher consciousness, the combined light from just them alone can light this planet every day. That's what I think is going to happen. And we have no need of our artificial sun. It could disappear, blow away, explode, whatever. It's not needed. How could it be? I mean, how can that artificial sun has got holes in it already, you know?
It's very temporary.
Yeah.
The
How could
sun's
it be
temporary.
permanent? It
Yeah.
can't be,
Yeah.
you know. And if it blows up to any time, what, is everybody on this planet going to be destroyed? No, because the plan is that more and more people come to the fourth dimension and become more outer energy powerful to bring light to this world. That's why it's important for us to bring the revelation to the rest of the world. That's one of the reasons why it's important, is so that they too could shed forth their Deo particles like we do here. You know, our reality is almost too good to be true. You know, that's because, again, we are so used to living in oppression and doubt and fear, that when something beautiful happens, we think, it's not going to last long. It's not real, you know. But you know, I wanted to read something, but I'll wait till you're done.
Information about the sun. As I understand it too, and again, I'm sketchy on some of the helium stuff, but when a star is dying, one of the things that happens is there's more helium expelled from it because of the change in the burn and all of that. So it all kind of ties together for me of what you're saying there in terms of the physical. And this is data that's coming from spaceweather.com, which they're very, probably one of the most reliable in terms of scientific information that they're giving out. So it kind of all fits together, what you're talking about in terms of the sun burning out and the helium and tying all of that together there. There's just so much about the sun.
It's beautiful because when you tie together the spiritual with the physical, it opens up a whole new realm of understanding,
Right.
which CFER is beginning to define in terms. What was the term that you used that I gave you? Probe, Trinity?
What? Yeah.
Okay. That's pretty heavy
Yeah.
if you think about it.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, why don't they just use a telescope? I mean,
Yeah.
that's a joke.
Yeah.
But, you know, like Jesus needs a probe.
Yeah.
But I think it's a probe for us to awaken. You know, those of us who desire to awaken. It's a probe. If you think of a probe as, you know, we send a probe to Mars and it looks around, sees what the heck's going on in Mars, you know. Well, the Lord doesn't need that. What people need to be aware of, that number one, Creator Son is real, and they need to come to Him. That the Trinity is real, and they need to become trisector in the reality. To ask the Father, first of all, the thought adjuster, to ask the Father direction. 2, to receive the Spirit of truth, that Jesus came and left here, which He said He'd leave here. And 3, to receive the Holy Spirit of God, which is also here for all of us to receive the Mother. So, it's all part of it. It's all part of the plan, you know. Okay.
One thing about the helium that Landau said, I'm not a chemist or I'm not much of a scientist either, but what fascinated me when you said that it's the stabilizing factor for many of the elements, including bringing the hydrogen and oxygen, you know, elements together to make water. And we're having an increase of helium coming into our atmosphere. And if we looked at that, not only the meaning and significance of that on a physical material level, but also then on the mindal and the spiritual levels, we're in a time now where we're moving from the fourth cycle, according to the Hopi prophecy, you know, into the fifth cycle. We say from the third dimension into the fourth and above dimensions. There's a shift, a transition. And during this time, there's all this seeming chaos stirring up, and that which is in divine pattern, good, is separated from that which is out of divine pattern, evil. And the helium comes in, and it's going to, on all these levels, it's going to impact every single one of us. And if we're hanging on to thoughts and attitudes that are not of the Creator, of God, they're not of truth, beauty, and goodness, we're going to go crazy. You know, it's going to really create something.
And people are going crazy today.
Yeah. It's coming to stabilize and bring together the goodness, that which is of eternal value. And so it will bring chaos to those who do not want to be in that field, but it will bring healing and stability to the others and to our natural world that right now is unraveling. You know, life is unraveling on our planet. So to me, it's a very exciting thing, that this helium. Meanwhile, the scientists of this planet are trying to figure it out, and they don't have the spiritized understanding of that higher understanding, and because they don't, at the level that they need to, which is that you cannot separate the physical from the spirit. They're come together as one, and they don't have any idea of the spirit. And with the Native American people, the red man in the Americas, especially in this country, they're becoming more visible now. They've been an invisible people in our country for a long time, and a marginalized people, and now they're becoming visible in many ways. And other U.S. citizens are becoming more aware of the history of how our government treated the red man, the First Nations, the First Peoples in this country and in the Americas. And so there is that coming in the red man is coming together and beginning to be united in their activism and in their concern for water and everything. And I think the beautiful thing with the Oak Flat and Standing Rock, and there's other places now, and there's some groups coming together in Canada, is their basis is to be the way of the Creator and to pray and to be peaceful and not to be warlike. And so that is how they are taking their stand, which is very beautiful. And they refer to God, the divine source, as the Creator. And so we have the universe father and universe mother of our universe. They are referred to as the Creator, Son, and the creative spirit. So they have the idea you must go to Christ Michael, the Creator Son, and the Universe Mother Spirit. They may have different language or whatever, but they're talking about the same thing. And people can get all caught up in semantics, as you were saying. So throughout this planet, I think that helium is coming into different groups and stabilizing them and bringing them together in whatever way they can to try to bring attention to other people of the world that things are going awry and we need to bring it back. We need to bring it back into the way of the Creator and divine pattern. So that's what helium means to
And
me.
I think that helium,
Yeah.
to those that are good, are kind, are making changes within themselves for purity, it affects them in a beautiful way. But those that are adverse to change,
It's going to spin them out.
it's going to spin them out.
Right. Yep.
And that's what's happening. It is the separation of the good seed, again, from the bad seed,
Yeah.
the wheat from the chaff.
Yeah.
That's what's happening.
I can't see you, but I know you in life. I can't touch you, but I feel you in life. I can't hear you, but I sense you